Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. My name is Thomas T. Canarian, and you are watching another fantastic Mailgun, Mailjet, and Email and Acid webinar. Like I said, my name is Thomas T. Canarian, and I've got some great guests today. Also, first and foremost, this is a debate. This is the great email AI debate. Marketers versus bots. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Julia Ritter, the email marketing manager from Mailjet by Sense. Julia, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to have you. Good to have you. One of my favorite coworkers. Always happy to collaborate. Always fun. Always fun. And some of our good friends from across the pond. Nicole Holden from Action Rocket. Nicole, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to be able to talk as fast as you, Thomas.
It's okay. No problem. No problem. I'm super excited about everyone being here today. We're gonna have a lot of fun. But first and foremost, let's go to and talk about some housekeeping items, everyone. Um, So before we get going, go ahead and let's see some reactions in the chat. I want to see how everyone's doing today. Let's see, is it a good day? Is it a bad day? But most importantly, we're here together, and that's most important. So second, for chats and questions, and most importantly, questions. If you do have a question, please throw that in the question tab, and we'll get to that towards the very end of our Q&A. And also to keep it kind of pertinent, please upvote the ones that you would like to see the most. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So before we get going here, just want to talk about this subject in general. All right. So ChatGPT, the notorious ChatGPT, notorious. Everyone's well aware of it right now. It's a very hot topic. Everyone's talking about it. GPT. A joke that Julia was telling me the other day. If we can call it Chat Spaghetti, that one's still cracking me up. But so overall, generative AI. What is it? What in the heck is it? Okay. So generative AI is a training algorithms to create new data. It creates new information rather than just recognizing it and categorizing it, right? So it's out there. It's becoming integrated fast. The main player is OpenAI, who launched ChatGPT for free in November, right? So their launch made the barrier to entry to use on AI tool, it made the barrier for, an entry tool for AI tool, to be used very low, right? So the chat interface part of it, of the layer of the tech on top of the GPT that increased its uptake so much. So I think Nicole had an interesting fact about that.
I do, which is an amazing fact, I think. You might already know this, but ChatGPT has become the most quickly adopted tech product in history. So by January 2023, it had 100 million users, and it took 2 months to get to this point. Just for to compare, TikTok took 9 months to get to that point, and Instagram 2.5 years. So it's a pretty amazing fast uptake. And now, obviously, there's about 30 million users per day. I suppose we could start, Thomas, with maybe thinking about how ChatGPT stands out for me in terms of copying content. So I kind of see it as like a place that you can use it for starter copy, foundations, ideas generation. It's great for content personalization at scale, automating the routine bits of a comms job. It generates multiple versions of content, and I think it's the ultimate research tool.
Right. And most importantly, in the actual question that we were posing earlier, everyone, if we just missed it, but let's debate about this. Is ChatGPT any good at writing email copy, headlines, subject lines, and CTAs? And someone was asking, so who's representing the bot side? Everyone. So Nicole Holden is representing the bot side from Action Rocket, and Julia Ritter is representing the marketer side for us. So just to kind of clear that up for everybody. But yeah, Julia, do you have a point to that?
Well, I'm obviously the god, but I just don't think there's something about our jobs that ChatGPT cannot replace. Even if it were used to be in some places, it has to be proofread and checked, and the originality and the perfecting your tone of voice, they can't replace that. So my short answer to this question is no, but I know we're going to dive some more into it.
Perfect. Okay. Moving on to the next one, shall we?
I don't need to mute myself for every time I laugh at that gong.
I love this thing. Okay. Alrighty then. I think we might have had some examples actually that we wanted to kind of go over.
Yeah. So this was my example to begin with. So this was a a brand example of one of our clients that we're launching a new coffee exclusively to their web shop. So this is what I put together. Subject line: now you can refresh coffee. Preview text: try our coolest brew exclusively online, and then the body copies. So what I did was I put it into, let's see if I can work. I put this into and briefed it into ChatGPT. Firstly, the original, the free version. So it took me a few attempts to kind of write the brief to get it like as specific as it needs to be to get what you need. So I made sure that I put in the how many characters he wanted in the subject line, how many words in the body copy, the CTA, and the tone of voice. So ChatGPT, the first version, came up with this subject line: try our new cold brew, indulge in our exclusive coffee. So for me, these the subject line and preview header is kind of direct. It kind of harnesses the purpose of the email, and it kind of like the preview text kind of complements the subject line. So for that, it's okay. I mean, it's not brilliantly original, but it kind of does that job. The header copy is fine, and then the body copy didn't actually follow completely my word count, so it would actually need to be shortened, and also the CTA would need to be more specific. But it's not a bad start, I thought, to be able to layer kind of brand guidelines and anything sort of brand over it, because it doesn't quite hit the mark in the body copy in terms of that. Then I tried it in the Plus Model 4 version, slightly different, as in the subject line it added emojis in, but that same direct, hit the purpose, complemented each other. But it was in the body copy that it was slightly better, a bit more context, and it stuck to how many words I wanted, and the CTA is a bit more specific, but it's joined up. So to agree with Julia, if I'm allowed to, it wouldn't be something that could go straight out without kind of a layer of tweaking, or you know, me adding the brand and the context to it, but it's good for starters.
Okay, so on the adverse, this was the first time I actually used ChatGPT for this webinar too, so it was kind of interesting experience to say the least. So what you're looking at is an example of our email camp, one of our email camp promotions from last year. And so basically I asked, this subject line was where we're going, we don't need roads. Pre-headers were back, baby, because we were back for 2023 or 2022 from 2021. It's 2023 now. And our tone is very like playful, fun. I incorporated a lot of song lyrics, or like a play on song lyrics or movie quotes. So this was like a very fun email to write. We needed to convey that it was a 2-day event. The different days we're gonna have different tracks. You know, register now, but don't say register now, to be very creative about it, right? So I asked the free version of ChatGPT to do this for me. At first I also did not realize that you had to include character count, because in my mind, from working with emails every day and writing emails every day, I have a character count, just like it's like muscle memory at this point, you know, like, you know, when things are going to be too long, you know, when they're going to be too short. So at first I did not say that. But then this is like probably like the third try I actually put them in there. So it's kind of a learning curve with what you need to tell the tool as well. And I wanted multiple options. I like to test different parts of the email. And the first time it gave me very long CTA buttons, which I think I have that. And so I was like, I didn't include the first. It gave me very long CTA buttons with colons, almost as if you were it was like a headline or a title of an essay or something. And if you first see my emails, you know I love a colon in a subject line, but it was just too much. A lot of emojis, a lot of exclamation points. I was like, none of this is our brand standard. So then I tried it on the paid version, just going to give you another second to read that. This is the paid version. So you can see the CTA options here are the little bit more hyphenated. I had it redo them again. And it's just road trip register. It's not as call to action as you want it to be. It's not as hailing. It's not telling them. To me, I'd be like, I'm not going to register for this. It's kind of not corny, but it's not as creative as something a copywriter could write. So it's just not, yeah. And like it's when you're brainstorming, you have an idea in your mind. When we were coming up with this event, you had ideas pop into your mind and your teammates are bouncing things off of you. It's not really like this kind of takes that aspect out. And I think that's where the fun is a part of our job, as well as coming up with these creative ideas. So, yeah, I mean, it to me, I would not use this. Is it good starter copy? Maybe, but like, I think I would change the entire thing. So maybe it would take me more time anyway.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got from the bot side and from the marketer side. There we go. I love that gong. Perfect. Okay. Well, should we move on to the next question, shall we? Okay, let's see. How are email marketers already using artificial intelligence? All right, first and foremost, let's go to the bot corner. Nicole, what are we thinking?
Well, I think we've been using them for a while without really labeling them. So we've got Grammarly, we've got spell check, any email automation like send time optimization, MailChimp are doing subject line suggestions, Canva are using it for email templates. Other things like GPS, Netflix, most of our customer services, we're using it already and not kind of calling it that. But then so we've got into the first player is Phrasey they started doing it with subject lines. But until then, we weren't really calling those things I've just said artificial intelligence. So we're using it.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
And then from the marketer side, what are we thinking?
Agreed. I think automation saves my life every day. I mean, imagine if you couldn't have your anniversary emails or your, annual renewal emails automated. Oh my gosh, it'd be a nightmare. But and send time optimization, inbox placement, to make sure that your domain is healthy and you're hitting the inboxes correctly. I mean, they're lifesavers, but I think the point is that they're complements, not supplements for what you're doing. So just keep that in mind, that there's different versions of artificial intelligence and how we use them is key.
Good point.
Oh,
we're having fun.
All right, that ends that question. Moving on. Okay. All right, everyone. So, could using AI in email marketing cause deliverability issues? Actually, I want to go to the marketing side on this one. So, marketing corner, what are we thinking?
Yeah. Short answer, yes. So there are curated lists of spam words out there, right? Spam, like click here, register now. Even in my last example of the email camp, it said click below to register now. No. Like you don't do that. Spam traps are very smart. Can we consider them AI? I don't know, but they're very smart. They catch on to things. And I don't think ChatGPT, because up until now, it's only looking at data from 2020 or before 2021, right? So it has nothing updated since then. But even so, it was known in 2021. But I don't think it's taking those words into account. So if you include those spam words, they're going to go into your spam traps. You won't be able to deliver. Your engagement gets lower. Your deliverability gets even lower. There's also, so OpenAI even admitted that ChatGPT is going to lead spammers to committing more fraud and misleading people, because it's going to be so easy to write a cold email, to like get those things out, to send mass emails. So you just got to be careful of the repetition in your messaging. Does it sound too plain or too blasé? And then you're sending out something that everyone else is sending, because then it's going to get a little too mundane.
Okay, and then now in the bot corner, Nicole, what are we thinking?
Well, I have nothing else to add from Julia's comments because they are exactly what I'm thinking. I'm obviously pro, but you can't get away from the fact that those are the possibilities for deliverability. So I'm sorry, I don't have anything else to add.
No worries, no worries. All right, that wraps that one up. Okay, moving on. Let's see here. Next. Okay, what are the biggest benefits and potential pitfalls of using AI in email marketing? All right, Nicole, we're going to go with your side first. Let's hear from the bot side.
Okay, so I think that AI is a chance for us email marketers to get out of the undergrowth, because it can do the basic routine stuff, as we've kind of talked about, the legwork, the stuff we don't really want to be doing. So then we can spend as marketers being more human, creative, and strategic. So it kind of opens up our world to being more strategic thinkers, because after all, strategy underpins what copywriters do. Also, if you're a many hats marketer and you're strapped for time, it's a way to scale the mundane parts of the process of writing copy. For example, if you need to write 20 subject lines for a workflow test, we use it to work smarter. It can produce mass volumes of potentially personalized content, making valuable space for us copywriters to use our time strategically optimized. I really need to be able to say strategically without skipping over it like that. So it's really good for small marketing departments as well. It allows them to accomplish more at a lower cost, and enables them to take shortcuts until resources are available. I feel like it's a great writer's assistant. So I definitely don't feel it's taking my job, but it's a great assistant to fill up a blank page with rough draft of words with no emotional intent that me as a copywriter can refine and humanize. And it's a great place to structure my thoughts. It's great for generating ideas, as we talked about before, and discovering a different way to look at a product or a service or a benefit. It's kind of my collaborator, my copywriting sounding board when I haven't got one. For me, it's an ultimate research tool. It's like having a librarian, maybe one that doesn't leave the building, as it's not got enough context yet, but it is one. And it's really powerful around data sets, good for generating large number of personalized subject lines, pre-headers, and CTAs to put forward for testing. And I think it could potentially create better headlines when it increases its learning, because it's grabbing keywords that particularly grab attention. Whew! Shall I breathe now?
You can take a moment. We'll let your coach come onto the side and kind of give you a towel and some water, and we'll fan you off. All right, let's give Nicole a break. All right, let's hear from the marketing side. Julia, what do you think?
Laughing at the coach. Yes, I think it could be used as a teammate in some way to bounce ideas off of. I really like that idea. If you have writer's block and you need something to, give me 17 words that rhyme with email or something, it could be a really nice sounding board like that. I did actually use it as for a scheduling problem. I was trying to figure out what kind of, so I had 4 emails going out in a week. 3 of the audiences overlapped, but they all needed to receive this email. One of those story math problems that start to come up in your job and you're like, I can't do this. So I checked ChatGPT to see what it thought, and I surprisingly agreed with mostly what it came up with, which is kind of nice. So the scheduling aspect, I think that's kind of cool. It was a different kind of strength that I didn't think it would have. Pitfall wise, again, like I said, your lack of originality and the lack of genuine effort. So if your emails start to sound like they were written by AI, or if it was found out that it was written by AI, I think that's a huge red flag to your audiences. We've seen that already happening. So it's not just your center reputation that's getting impeded on, but also your overall brand image. I want to know that there's someone on the on the other end of my emails putting an effort to what I like, to what I want to hear, to knowing who I am as an audience. just like I want our audiences to know that I'm on the other end of ours. Someone tweeted a long time ago, like, do we think Julia at MailJet is even like a real person? Like, yes, I'm real. I'm looking at every response that comes in. Like, I spend a lot of time, and I think that's really important for your audiences to know that you're genuinely putting in the effort, and not just, coming up with an idea on ChatGPT. It luckily also does, even though this is a pitfall, does not have access to your data. So just because it doesn't know what your audience wants. So even if you still have to come up with the ideas and the blurbs or the prompts to put into Chat Spaghetti to understand how to get it to give you what you want, I just think it adds like a lot of time on it. I would love for it to, like, if I put in a bunch of campaign data, for it to spit out all the totals and like aggregate all the analysis for me, because that's really mundane to me. I don't want to stare at an Excel sheet, but it can't do that yet. And I guess you have to take it with a grain of salt, because how factual do we believe it is? Like, where is the sourcing? Where is the credit? Where is where do we go into that kind of, when we go into those gray areas, how do we give credit where credit is due? I asked it to come up with subject lines with Ariana Grande lyrics in them, and it did it, but they weren't good enough to share. But it had no problem giving me Ariana Grande lyrics. So, like, we have to just be careful with those. Will it be bias, stereotypes? Think of the image of the Pope. We all thought he was wearing a puffy jacket, and if you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. But it's fake news. You just got to be careful.
All right. Some good statements on that one. Okay, now the biggest, and I would say shocking question out of this whole round, everybody, is up next. Okay, you ready for this? All right. Can email AI be stopped? Let's hear from the bot corner. Nicole, what are you thinking?
Well, I think the tech's going to do what it's going to do. So no. So what we're going to have to do, I think, we're going to have to evolve into creators who can expertly use AI. That's the only way forward. The people who lose their jobs to AI will be those that don't adopt it. So it's going to be those that excel in it that are going to keep their jobs. So it's inescapable. And I'm just wondering whether it could just be a way that we become more human, because it can liberate us from the routine parts of the job, giving us space to see the wood for the trees. Because after all, routine jobs are not what we are. Being human is. So in a positive way, I don't think there's any escaping it, but I think it's a chance for us to become more human, design the future of our professions, and be able to help people to use it in the best way that they can to convey the value of their work. Also, it could mean that more people will be sending decent communications, which is a plus. So we then need to step up again as copywriters and focus on our relationships with the consumers even more. So it could possibly raise the standards of communications altogether. And one more point, I think it may raise the value of original copywriting, same way as it could do for art if it goes into that area, which it already is starting to do. So no, it can't be stopped, but I'm seeing it as a plus.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from the marketing side. Julia, what are you thinking?
I really love Nicole's answer, honestly. I think that's a wonderful take on it. I was just reading a New York Times article they quoted us, oh my gosh, sorry. A ZipRecruiter, I was going to say Zendesk, a ZipRecruiter survey where 62% of job seekers surveyed said that they were concerned that AI would derail their careers. So I think that's a wonderful perspective and message to send out there, that I think it is what you make it, and how you adopt it. So it's really wonderful. I don't think it can be stopped. I agree. But I think we can decide what we want it to help with. So I agree, Nicole. There has to be a balance of, what you're using it for, where and how you use it, and how much you're integrating it into your processes. And it could do everything if you want, or it can do as little as you want, so that you still have the integrity and the credibility of your work. And I think, just what we're seeing, even yesterday, they were launching platform or like new integrations with different platforms. I know this is like OpenTable, Slack, Expedia. So it's starting off which is not email AI, but it's not going to stop there. It's going to have more integrations sooner or later, and we're going to have to, learn how to work best with it.
Yeah. It would be great if it could take those jobs that none of us like.
Yeah.
Taking notes, doing tax returns.
Yes,
that would
please
be
do
nice.
Taxes.
That would be nice. What do we need to do to get ChatGPT to answer our taxes? Chat TAX. How about that? That's what needs to happen next. Chat TAX. All right, everyone. Well, that wraps up the rounds for the questions, everyone. So up next, thank you for stopping by. But we've got some questions. So let's dive into the questions tab and take a look at what we've got in here, everyone. Okay, so looks like all right. I want to tackle this one first. So someone was asking, actually, let's see here. Yeah, someone was asking, can either of you see a future of your marketing teams being 50-50 marketers and AI helping each other, teaming up? Ooh. Or do you see it as one or the other?
I definitely see it as more 50-50 than one or the other, definitely. As I said, I kind of see them as, us working together on it, still having our jobs, the collaboration, the sounding board. So maybe 50-50, possibly. That's I don't know. What do you think, Julia?
That's interesting. I think 50-50 is a too equal of a ratio. I would, I'd give it 70-30, but like if you compare it to other tools you're using, if you're putting it into that scope of things, I probably use tools plus teammates 50% of the time. So that's a good, interesting.
Teaming up, 50-50. All right, we'll take it. All right. Okay, let's see. Moving on here. Let's see. Someone wanted to know. Okay, I like this one a lot. This is a cool one. Joseph wanted to know, has anyone used ChatGPT for proofreading? Higher ed content is too specific for a bot, but I could use an extra set of eyes on the final content. Actually, let's go with the marketing side on this one. Julia, what are you thinking on this?
That's such a good question. I have not actually tried it to proofread, but I think Nicole's example of a email was an interesting example, because her CTA was shop now. You wouldn't normally have those two words combined. So I would think it would be a little, I think it would miss some things, and even, again, the free version's looking up to 2021, right? In an example I was doing along with the Ariana Grande lyrics, it used bae as in like BAE as a slang word for a subject line. And that we haven't used that word in a long time. So it may not recognize certain things to flag for you. So I would be very careful.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you disagree? Do you agree?
I absolutely agree with you. I would say that was the part of the copyright and content job that I definitely wouldn't trust it with. Wouldn't actually use it for, because I know it seems like you could, but I think it's a matter of trust, and I don't think we're there yet with it, in terms of being able to say that could be the final point that it uses that sort of proofreading place and then goes out. I think that's human still at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was just thinking about an email and acid blog that we had talked about originality, if it could be more creative or not. But I just threw that in the chat. Everyone take a look at that when you get a moment. But,
yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on. I wanted to throw this one on our radar. I know we're not legal experts, but I know, and none of us are lawyers and stuff like that. But this one did bring up a point of concern I've thought about. And like I said, none of us are lawyers, but we're just going to kind of briefly talk about this one. But someone wanted to know, how do copyright laws play into utilizing ChatGPT for writing email copy?
That is a good question, and one I can't answer. because I don't know if anyone can answer that yet. But it's definitely a concern, and something to think about, but I'm afraid I can't answer it.
Yeah, I think this is probably the scariest thing that comes up when you think of ChatGPT, because you don't know where the source is coming from. If it's, looking at resources, what are its resources? Where is it pulling information from? If it's Wikipedia, I mean, think about that. Anyone can put information out there. Not that I'm saying it's coming from Wikipedia, but you got to be really careful. And I think if you are using something like a statistic or a fact or something that's not about your brand that you know for sure, you really got to double check that and research it, and that would, who's taking responsibility for that? You know what I mean? It's not going to be ChatGPT. It's going to be on you. Yeah. So, be very careful with that.
So I think that's where, again, I see it sort of as a resource, as a research tool, but the ultimate end point, you're checking that yourself. But you're right, you're not knowing where that's coming from in the first place. So how would you then check it? It's a concern. Yeah.
So we advise you to check with your GC, your general counsel, or your copyright lawyer friends. We are not lawyers. So. Yeah. That's why I wanted us to cover that one really quick. Okay, moving on here. Let's see. Okay, so someone wanted to know, how do you all think ChatGPT could impact freelancing? Ooh, will clients question hourly rates if they suspect a freelancer is just using AI to do the job? Or will they stop using freelancers altogether? What do we think?
That is a good question. One I haven't really thought about, actually, because I suppose it's just sort of like started, so we're using it as a kind of a collaborator and assistant. So for that capacity, I think it's fine. But if we're starting to get into the freelancers are using it wholly as that's what they're producing, then it's a question. Yeah, it's a question about that. I don't think I'd be particularly enamored with that if I was using a freelancer who was using it like that. What do you think, Julia?
Yeah, I think, again, I was reading something yesterday and it was saying someone who was freelancing it cut his work in half. And I think he was still billing for them. Don't quote, but it was something like that. It truly cut his work in half. I was like, oh, that's a lot. He's working less. So I don't know if that was a pro for him or a con for him.
I would say if it was, then he should be billing his actual hours of work, not the actual hours it could have been without the AI or that.
That was probably what it was. But because that would be a little bit shady. So I think you just have to watch the integrity of it and like the honesty and how much is coming through and what are you using freelancers for, or on the flip side. So I think there could be a few different ways to look at it.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got time for just one more. We're getting ready to wrap up here in just a moment. But there's a question here. There's two questions in here that are kind of merging and kind of on the same topic. But I want to pose this to all of us. So, is there a rising pressure to reassure audiences that there's an actual person behind the brand emails? Should we be giving customers a peek behind the curtain to give them some peace of mind about the humanity of the brand? And also, Emily, kind of to the same point, was saying, there's a sameness that we're seeing in marketers creating content to satisfy algorithms and AI rather than going against the data. So, are we seeing that same just sameness, I guess, really, in all the copy and stuff that we're seeing?
Oh, sure. Is there a rising pressure to reassure audiences? I don't know if there's a rising pressure, but I think that trend is huge right now to make sure that your brand seems human and accessible, and you want to come off as genuine. That was in one of our research reports, we found that audiences really want to know that there is genuine care being done by the brands. It's not just set it and forget it, churn and spit it out kind of brand or kind of campaigns. So I think it is, from my opinion, that I want to know there's an actual person behind my emails. If you want to give a peek behind the curtain, I love that idea. I think that is so cool. I think, shameless plug, but if you want to see something that our team is doing that is really going to show our kind of peek behind the curtain and how cool our team is, sign up for the Email and Acid newsletter. And you're going to get an email this Friday that is going to just blow your socks off because it's the coolest thing. And I think that's really going to answer this question, that brands are going to be doing things that show how wonderful they are. From the SEO side, I don't mind having a tool to help me with that. I don't mind it. But Nicole, do you disagree?
No, I agree, because as I've been saying, I don't really see it as a tool for the finished product. I see it as a starter, like ideas, foundations. So I don't really see it as something that wouldn't have the human aspect overlaid on it. I do see why audiences, our clients, customers might want to know whether it's generated by AI, to be transparent, as opposed to a human. I don't really know the answer to that, though. I'm kind of talking to myself here, but yeah, I kind of never see it as a finished product, if you know what I mean. So I don't know if I'd need to say that was how I used it for ideas, or I used it to make a start. But it's definitely a good question to think about. And I think that's what's happening at the moment, isn't it? The first people that are using it are admitting that they've used it. This is an AI generated email. So this is what you're getting. And then, so maybe that is the trend that it's going to be. And like I said earlier, it might raise the value of original content, original copy, that we, will be able to sort of say, this is from an actual human. So we know you better than, that kind of thing. So,
I would love to see that as a test, like 2 campaigns, one written by AI, one written by a person, and then you tell them or you don't. It'd be so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to do it. It'd be interesting.
Hey, maybe this will have us build relationships with our audience more. Maybe we just need to start sending emails, introductory emails of who we are.
Yeah.
To prove that we're not robots. Well, awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, most importantly, our guests, Nicole and Julia, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate both of you taking time out of your day to out of your busy days to be here. So we appreciate it so much. So how about we see some reactions in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, for our 2 wonderful guests. There we go. Real quick, want to talk about some important stuff that we were talking about on this webinar. Real quick. So most importantly, don't forget, you can sign up for Action Rocket's weekly newsletter at emailweekly.co. I'll throw that link here in the chat. So feel free to sign up for their weekly newsletter over there and follow them over there on their social channels, everyone. So Action Rocket, don't forget it, one word, Action Rocket. And don't forget about us as well. So you probably saw some of the blogs I was sharing in the chat earlier. So we got one about ChatGPT and automation. So check that one out when you get a moment. I also shared another one in there about originality and AI. Also, check this one out. This one features our own Julia about ChatGPT and MailJet. So check that out when you get a moment. Also, last but not least, shameless plug for myself. I produce a Emails Not Dead podcast. It's called Emails Not Dead. Check it out when you get a moment. It's all about email marketing, deliverability, and email. So when you get a moment, we have a lot of fun on there. And maybe in the future, we can have Nicole on there. Julia's been on there. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So awesome, everyone. So that concludes the rounds for the Great Email Debate Round 1. That being said, we're going to have round 2 next week featuring Jay Orem from Action Rocket and Megan Bushhausen as well. So if you know those fabulous people, let's see some reactions in the comments for that. So yeah, thank everyone for being here. Also, that being said, let me go ahead and give y'all the sign up link for next week's round 2. So I want to make sure that everyone in here is going to be attending. If I can get to that amazing link, here we go. Okay, about to drop that in here. Awesome. Okay.
Do not miss that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to miss that. If I can get the link to actually populate here, let's see. Yeah, so thank you everyone for stopping by. Nicole, Julia. Here we go. Here's the actual link. There we go. So
I'm trying to put in to sign up for the blog newsletter for email and acid too. I don't know if it's sending though.
Here we go, everyone. And this should be the sign up for round 2 for next week. So be sure to join that. Also, yeah, keep a lookout for our newsletter that's coming out Friday. It's going to be super awesome. You're going to enjoy it. I can't talk about it. It's super secret. So keep a lookout in your inboxes. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our amazing guests for being here. And let's wave goodbye and listen to some super awesome boxing sports music. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas. Bye.